Hello, everybody, and happy Sunday. Welcome to this week's Sunday Sprinkle. This is the short and sweet segment of my show where we will just start our week with a little bit of scripture, truth, and hopefully some encouragement. Today we're talking about something that has hit every single one of us at one point or another, or maybe it has hit you right now in this very moment. I also wanted to just kind of tie in what we talked about in last week's Sunday Sprinkle, but wanted to bring in something that's been on my mind a lot this week, and that is that God's timing is perfect. We all wrestle with God's timing versus our timing at one point or another, but let's just talk about it today. So last week, our verse of the week was Ecclesiastes 3:1. There is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. And honestly, I just love that verse, and I haven't stopped thinking about it this week, especially since that verse totally came to life in my life in the most unexpected way. If you don't know, just signed to play Division I softball at Lipscomb University. And if you had told me this would happen about 5 years ago, I wouldn't have believed you, because honestly, that dream was done and I had given up on it, and I knew that God had different plans for me. And that is true in that moment. God did have different plans for me. I mean, the way my life was laid out and my college career of softball, the way it was laid out was exactly how it was supposed to be. But when I was younger, growing up playing softball, I just had that D1 mindset, and so did a lot of people. And if you listened to my last episode where I just kind of told my story, I kind of told you about how COVID hit my junior year. That's when I was being recruited to play, and I just really gave up on that whole D1 dream, and that's totally okay. I realized in that moment that God had those different plans, but wow, I mean, God really does have different plans for me. He has bigger plans, and he has right on time plans. It wasn't in my time. It was in his time. So I definitely didn't think that story would unfold this way, but God is awesome. God is perfect. And also, we are limited by time in this world, and God is not limited by time the way we are. And we kind of talked about that a little bit last week, that God just knows our future. He knows everything, and our life is in his hands. But going along with that, God is living outside of time, actually. He doesn't live in a fixed timeline as we do. He can see everything, past, present, and future, all at once. Going back to one of my favorite Bible verses, Ecclesiastes 3:11, it says, "He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also put eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what he has done from beginning to end." And this just kind of plays off of that whole thing that God operates in a timeline that we do not understand. He is eternal, and to think that we missed an opportunity might just be an opportunity that hasn't matured yet, that God hasn't presented to us yet in our timeline. So let's talk a little bit of theology for just a second. Wayne Grudem, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, but in his book, Systematic Theology, he says this quote, "God has no beginning, end, or succession of moments in his own being, and he sees all time equally vividly." So while we are seeing life moment by moment, God sees the entire story. He's not guessing or adjusting like we are. And a lot of the time, when things don't go our way, we react in panic. I know I do, because I am a planner and I like to have things all set out. But God has already written the whole script, and he's not in a rush because he knows that the ending is good. Charles Spurgeon says it like this: "God is too good to be unkind and too wise to be mistaken. When we cannot trace his hand, we must trust his heart." So if you're in a season of waiting, just hear me on this. You are not being overlooked. You are being overprepared. God does have a plan. God is not withholding anything from us. He's just holding it until we are ready. And when that moment comes, it will feel like a huge part of your story, your testimony in honor of God's plan. So for this week's verse of the week, I want to read you Psalm 27:14. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Waiting is not weakness. It is actually one of the strongest things we can do because it shows how much we trust God. Just know that God is not done with you. He is not even close to done. I really hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and I hope that it could relate to you in some sort of way or just give you some encouragement for this upcoming week. For this week, I would really love to hear from y'all and hear one thing that maybe you've been waiting on, or a time where God's timing completely blew your timing out of the water. Drop a comment or DM me on Instagram. I want to pray for you, cheer for you, and I also just want to know your story. And if you're still in a season of waiting, just hold tight, because again, He has made everything beautiful in its time. That's it for this episode. Hopefully it was short and sweet enough. I hope y'all have the most wonderful week, and I will see you next time.